As the strange evil body began to materialize, it slowly transformed into an evil demon infant, just reborn. Though its movements were incredibly slow, wherever its seemingly tiny body passed, the void solidified entirely. A foul, blood-soaked aura spread, and an ancient, powerful presence radiated from it, making Xiao Yan's expression turn grim. What baffled Xiao Yan even more were the intricate and long blood-red markings on the evil demon infant's body. With Xiao Yan's sharp perception, he could distinctly sense a terrifying fluctuation beyond the semi-god stage emanating from those markings. This was the result of a peak semi-god realm expert who had ascended to divine rank, combining their own essence with the power left behind by the leader of the extraterritorial realm, gathering all the energy of a domain to form the evil demon infant. Just this terrifying attack alone was enough to shake the very heavens and earth, suppressing even gods. This kind of power would be extremely difficult for Xiao Yan to deal with, even in his current state. Countless evil forces surged around, spilling out from the demonic cloud. The evil demon infant, covered in blood-red markings, began moving closer to Xiao Yan. With each movement, the demonic cloud roiled, and the void itself seemed to be crushed under its weight, increasing the pressure on Xiao Yan. Vaguely, the divine motion core inscription and the 10-layered spirit palace emanated a terrifying aura. Xiao Yan felt a thick, viscous evil force attaching itself to his flesh, skin, and pores. Waves of intense evil energy clung to him, subtly tearing at his soul, as though it sought to devour him completely, taking his body for itself. Xiao Yan remained unmoved, silently observing the movement of the evil body within the demonic cloud. It seemed that all of Tian Shang's power had coalesced into this one evil body. Rustle, rustle. The evil demon infant revealed a jagged, bone-white mouth, emitting an eerie, soul-chilling demonic sound. Its eyes then glinted with endless coldness and malice. Chi chi. At once, terrifying demonic clouds began to churn behind it, forming a vast and ever-shifting palace-like mass of clouds. The tiny body of the evil demon infant stepped onto it, looking down upon Xiao Yan with a mocking expression, as if sneering at his weakness. In that moment, Xiao Yan's mind stirred. He focused more intently and saw that the blood-red markings on the evil demon infant were slowly shedding, and under the control of its delicate hands, they began to sway in an ordered pattern. In an instant, Xiao Yan felt as though he was gazing upon some supreme divine artifact. Even the power within him trembled violently, as though it might explode at any moment. This evil demon infant, even if it was merely an energy-based demon, brought a danger far greater than any previous adversary. Xiao Yan even felt that the strength of this heavenly guardian, this law, might be only slightly inferior to that of the lord of the central human realm. Rustle, rustle, prepare for death. A chilling, icy voice echoed from the demonic cloud, and suddenly, the evil body shot out from the clouds, the blood-red markings trailing behind it. Like a meteor, it shot toward Xiao Yan with terrifying speed. At that moment, Xiao Yan's semi-god power and reincarnation power seemed to freeze within him, unable to be activated. The crisis was rapidly closing in. The suffocating feeling of coldness, darkness, and death rushed toward Xiao Yan. This seemed to be the first true life-or-death crisis Xiao Yan had faced since breaking into the semi-god stage. Just as Xiao Yan prepared to act, the flame mantra, Flame God's Cauldron, and sacred flame within his body all began to stir. A rebellious, earth-shattering aura began to spill out uncontrollably. You really are greedy, but let's go wild just once more. Your appearance was always a coincidence. This time, I'll accompany you on this reckless journey. Is it rebirth or destruction? As he watched the ancient and mysterious body transform into a pillar of light, Xiao Yan's demon robe behind him began to tremble violently, exuding an insatiable desire and burning heat. At that moment, it was as though his opponent had become nothing more than a delicious morsel of food to the robe. Sensing the robe's response, Xiao Yan laughed out loud and then suppressed the flame mantra, sacred flame, and other powers back within him. The demonic power was something the Darkness King had spent his life creating, and Xiao Yan believed its potential was no less than the flame mantra. With his decision made, Xiao Yan no longer hesitated. The demonic power within him surged, and his body began to tremble. The reincarnation power and sacred flame power were quickly withdrawn. The dark green demonic power flooded his limbs like a raging beast, swiftly consuming his entire body. A sinister, green glow appeared in his pupils, and his dark green hair fluttered, giving him an almost demonic allure. Within the cloak, there surged a fierce and untamable demonic shadow. It stared at the annihilation beam with no fear, its demonic eyes flickering with unprecedented madness. It was a demon servant, devoted to serving the demon lord, but now, it seemed determined to use this moment to completely devour the evil body of Tianshang and reach a whole new level of demonic power. A demon unlike any other, one with no predecessor or successor, the strongest demon in this world. Boom! The moment the evil body left the demonic cloud, the yin-yang forces around it transformed into waves of blood-red light, boiling violently before condensing into a towering beam of light, shooting straight toward Xiao Yan's location. The energy fluctuations exceeded the limits of this realm. In an instant, everything in the void fell silent. Who? Faced with this extreme danger, demonic Xiao Yan threw his head back and howled to the sky. The demonic cloak behind him swirled violently, and the demonic shadow suddenly crawled behind him, merging completely with his body. With a mighty swing, he raised his arms, now imbued with demonic power, and slowly grasped at the empty space before him. Rumble! When the two forces collided, the entire space shattered. Violent energy surges rippled out in all directions, filling the world with a feeling of fragmentation. Despite the earth-shattering collision, the evil beam formed by the demon infant showed no signs of breaking. In contrast, demonic Xiao Yan's cloak began to develop countless tiny cracks, his body trembling slightly as if forced to retreat. Dark green blood dripped from his arm, each drop of it accompanied by a searing pain that reverberated through Xiao Yan's very soul. At this moment, demonic Xiao Yan's defenses and resistance seemed effortlessly shattered. The destruction emanating from the evil body and the blood-red patterns was steadily eroding his vitality. It seemed as though everything had already been decided. Boom, boom, boom. The collision unleashed an unimaginable shockwave, causing the entire void to tremble violently. Cracks resembling fissures appeared in the fabric of space. Wind howled through them, and the atmosphere was filled with an eerie, terrifying chill. Gurgle, gurgle. The evil beam from the demon infant descended, carrying with it a force of destruction unlike anything Xiao Yan had ever seen. It instantly tore through all of Xiao Yan's defenses, striking him squarely before he could react. In that moment, Xiao Yan felt as if his skin, flesh, and soul were being devoured by some evil spirit. A soul-deep terror crept up on him, and the spasming pain from his flesh made his body tremble. Yet, the demonic force showed no signs of retreating, resisting as ferociously as a wild beast. Tisk. Time passed slowly, and demonic Xiao Yan's body began to retreat, seemingly on the verge of being struck down by the destructive beam. The situation grew increasingly perilous. But at that critical moment, a knowing smile curled at the corner of Xiao Yan's mouth. The blazing demonic light erupted from him, transforming the dim void in the blink of an eye. This guy, the demon infant, its remaining energy now fully concentrated in the destruction beam, struggled to maintain its assault on demonic Xiao Yan. But in that moment, the demon infant's consciousness suddenly sensed something. Boom! Let's see who can hold out until the end. Whoosh! Demonic Xiao Yan laughed wildly, and drops of demon blood began to ooze from the corner of his mouth. The blood dripped onto his swaying demonic cloak, intensifying the demonic aura, making it even more terrifying. Rumble! In an instant, within the cold and dark expanse, two defiant and untamable beings engaged in a violent battle, their clash causing a bloodbath. However, no victor could be determined in the short term. As time passed, demonic Xiao Yan grew more familiar with controlling the demonic power. The semi-god shackles within him, which had remained still until now, began to show the faintest of cracks. On the other side, the evil demon infant, in its desperation, relentlessly attacked demonic Xiao Yan. Outside the Buddhist realm, with the Great Thousand World Alliance launching a surprise attack, splitting into 3 separate forces to assault the Buddhist realm's outer stronghold, the extraterritorial evil clan was caught off guard. The once mighty evil clan had already suffered considerable losses. Now, within the dim Buddhist realm, the sounds of explosions and combat shook the entire area. A massive shadow loomed over the towering mountains, and the dark, cold air sent a chill down one's spine. It felt as though within the blood mist in the valley, there hid a terrifying force that could shake the very soul. Lord Holy King, the army of the extraterritorial evil clan, which had been sent to intercept our 3-pronged alliance, has already been crushed under our joint efforts. They can no longer stand against our forces head-on. However, countless blood coffins have appeared in the void of this valley, forming a strange, invisible grand array. This array seems intangible, yet for some unknown reason, it is filled with hidden killing intent. Even some of our reincarnation stage experts who stepped into it have vanished without a trace. Above the vast mountains and valleys of the Buddhist realm, clusters of intensely hot light began to shine, completely purging and evaporating the evil aura from this realm. The 3 armies attacking the Buddhist realm had now fully gathered here, but Xiao Yan was nowhere to be found. The forces of the Holy King had killed the most evil experts, followed by Xiao Tianming's faction, and lastly, the alliance of Xiao Yan and the 4 matriarchs. However, it was odd. Aside from Xiao Yan's faction, who had encountered interference from the heavenly guardian of the laws, none of the other 2 alliances had faced any evil experts above the 9th reincarnation stage. The first clash between the 2 sides had been alarmingly easy for the allied forces, and as a result, the atmosphere was now more serious as the 3-pronged alliance gathered. The Holy King and Xiao Tianming exchanged glances before focusing their eyes on the distant void, where countless blood coffins arranged in some strange formation loomed. The blood coffins were covered in an ancient and weathered aura. Even from a distance, a heavy dizziness overwhelmed them. The pressure was so immense that even the 2 semi-god experts, the Holy King and Xiao Tianming, felt it deeply. For the reincarnation stage experts, the pressure was even greater. Xiao Yan. It seems he has been brought into an unknown realm by the heavenly guardian of the laws, one of the 4 protectors of the extraterritorial evil clan. After a moment, Xun'er walked out from the alliance, her expression calm as she spoke to the 2 great figures. That means the other leaders have yet to appear. Upon hearing this, the Holy King furrowed his brows. Retreat the army. Suddenly, as if sensing something, the Holy King stood up abruptly, his gaze locking onto the farthest reaches of the realm. At that very moment, the atmosphere in the world grew cold, and countless evil forces poured down like a torrential rain. Everyone, let us give a proper send-off to these humans. Ha ha ha. In an instant, the entire world darkened, and murky, evil energy shadows surged out from the blood-colored mist in the valley, as though they had been waiting for countless years. When the voice echoed, the Holy King and the others narrowed their eyes, then simultaneously turned their gaze toward the countless blood coffins floating in the sky. On these blood coffins, ancient and powerful ripples surged, and suddenly, vivid human figures began to emerge from them. The blood coffins were arranged in formation, and among the figures, there were some terrifying beings who could stand toe-to-toe with the Holy King and others. In fact, within the formation behind the blood coffins, it was clear that countless evil creatures were lurking, eyeing them. These guys. At this moment, Kai Lin's dark eyes narrowed slightly, and the 3 matriarchs beside her also looked grim, lifting their heads to observe the evil figures atop the blood coffins. At this moment, it seemed a terrifying force was beginning to spread from the grand formation, and the true power of the extraterritorial evil clan. The vast number and terrifying quality of these evil creatures was becoming evident. Peak Semi-God, the heavenly demon's sacred emperor, and all the remaining reincarnation stage experts of the extraterritorial evil clan. Xiao Tianming stared at the formation, his gaze fixed on it. Even though the enemy had not yet revealed themselves, he could clearly sense a series of pressure-inducing fluctuations in the air. It was only now that Xiao Tianming understood. These enemies had been waiting for the right moment to lure them deep into the Buddhist realm, intending to trap them all at once. The true battle between the Great Thousand World Alliance and the extraterritorial evil clan had begun in earnest. Boom! In the eerie silence of the core of the Buddhist realm, as the strange formation enveloped the area, countless members of the Great Thousand Alliance hesitated, seemingly unable to cross the magical barrier within the formation. Even outside the formation, with the appearance of the mysterious blood coffins, numerous elite forces from the extraterritorial evil clan, their leaders and tens of thousands of evil spirits, began to stir, emerging from the grim formation. On top of the blood coffin, complex and evil-looking patterns surged continuously. The heavenly demon's sacred emperor, clad in a blood-colored armor, arrogantly stepped onto the coffin. His gaze was filled with blood energy, clearly showing that they had spared no effort in preparing for this moment. Have they fallen into our trap? As soon as the heavenly demon's sacred emperor's voice fell, a strange change occurred in this core area of the Buddhist realm. Countless eerie black mists began to spill out from the blood coffin and the grand formation, swiftly enveloping the entire world and suppressing it. In an instant, a strong aura of bloodthirsty evil flooded the hearts of the Great Thousand Alliance forces, and an immense pressure rose from within. It seemed that under this suppression, the strength of countless powerful warriors was significantly diminished. The pathways connecting the Buddhist realm to the outside world have been completely severed by this formation. It seems they want to engage us in a final, life-and-death battle. Yao Ji and the matriarchs immediately noticed the terrifying nature of the formation and spoke up. Let's make our move. Faced with such hidden malice from the extraterritorial evil clan, the Holy King and others exchanged glances. Then, gazing at the Buddhist realm, which had no way to retreat, their pupils flashed with an unprecedented determination. Over the long course of time, the Great Thousand World and the extraterritorial evil clan had clashed countless times, but neither side had ever been able to open a decisive, overwhelming advantage. Now that the leader of the extraterritorial evil clan was absent, it was the perfect opportunity to wipe them out once and for all. If not now, when? Great Thousand will win. Kill. Boom. 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 In that instant, all the powerful warriors from both sides launched their first full frontal assault. This battle was bound to be extraordinarily brutal, for it would determine the future balance between the Great Thousand World and the extraterritorial evil clan. If the Great Thousand Alliance lost, the evil forces would devour them entirely without even needing the black and white scorching sun divine array to swallow the world. But if the extraterritorial evil clan lost, the threat to the Great Thousand World's countless lives would be reduced to nothing but the black and white solar eclipse. This battle was crucial. As the fierce battle began in the core of the Buddhist realm, another battle in a mysterious void slowly took shape. Boom! The Heavenly Guardian, Fa Bai's lifelong effort, and the power left behind by the leader of the extraterritorial evil clan combined into a full-force strike. It easily shattered Xiao Yan's demonic power, slowly devouring and destroying him. The current evil light pillar was like a divine blade of judgment, mercilessly punishing everything about Xiao Yan. A wave of burning pain coursed through his skin, and his demonic power began to fade. Even the power from his 10-layered spirit palace and the core inscriptions quivered in unison. The opponent's desperate strike had reached the true level of divine technique. Xiao Yan, at this moment, was likely unable to withstand it. His bones began to emit pleasant sounds, and hot blood started to spill from his skin, nose, mouth, and ears. The situation looked exceptionally dire. Shush, become my vessel. As the demonic servant behind Xiao Yan faded, his life force rapidly weakened. A cold, merciless sneer echoed from within the evil light pillar. Its creation was merely the result of a divine-level technique giving birth to an energy life form, but if it could possess Xiao Yan's body, it could live again in a new form. Having stepped into a divine-level technique, The heavenly sorrow was at the peak of the semi-god realm. With Xiao Yan's terrifying power, its rebirth would likely make it an invincible existence within the extraterritorial evil clan, second only to their leader. Is there no way out? Demonic Xiao Yan let out a low murmur, his eyes heavy. He had just gathered all his strength for a fatal strike when some ancient power began to awaken within him. It was the 4-5 spirit pearls that were related to the mystery of the Do Shun. They rotated, coming together, faintly pulsing within the 10-layered spirit palace, as if calling upon some unknown power. For a moment, there was an anomaly within the spirit palace. A faint thread of light appeared, so weak it was almost negligible. Yet, at that moment, the 10-layered spirit palace quivered slightly, and a small, exquisite lotus leaf flickered within the spirit palace. As the lotus leaf flashed, all the power within Xiao Yan's body froze instantly, as though some force beyond the heavens and earth was slowly leaking from it. Ignoring the impending danger, Xiao Yan focused all his remaining energy on it. It was a lotus leaf no bigger than a thumb, with a single crystalline water droplet on top. In the hazy mist, countless images seemed to flash by, and Xiao Yan saw his own figure within the droplet. Is this me? Though Xiao Yan found this scene hard to believe, he couldn't help but speak out loud. Within the water droplet on the lotus leaf, faint images appeared. Images of a young girl around 10 years old, and a figure that looked exactly like himself. The world has all living things, and I am the king of this world. Your time is running out. At that moment, an ancient voice, resounding through the soul and awakening like a divine revelation, echoed from within the lotus leaf of the spirit palace. The sound surged forth, transforming into a vast energy, as if a torrential downpour, turning into countless glowing fireflies that rushed out. This impossible. How could you have the power of a god within you? Countless glowing fireflies shot out from Xiao Yan's body. Before he could react, a fearful voice erupted from within the evil light pillar. The fireflies emanating from Xiao Yan's body, and that ancient, weathered voice, were powers that even the leader of the extraterritorial realm had never possessed. How could a mere semi-god stage warrior possess such strength? Could it be he truly has something to do with the Do God? The son of the Do Shin? Though I'm unclear on the details, Senior, the remaining tasks, I will complete them for you. I will protect this world myself. As the words were spoken, the entire eerie evil domain instantly froze. A thread of sacred flame surged from Xiao Yan's body, and the grand flame god's cauldron enveloped the world. Together with Xiao Yan's flame mantra and sacred flame powers, the forces slowly began to burn the heavens and earth. At that moment, the fifth stage of the flame mantra, which had long been stagnant within Xiao Yan's body, shattered its restraints as if a dam had broken. Even his strength was advancing, from the semi-god stage, toward a more terrifying realm. Beyond the semi-god realm is the Quasi-God stage. And once one enters the Quasi-God stage, they can challenge the Do Shun. Though it seems there is a lack of methods to break through to the Do Shun. In the Boundless Fire domain, at Unease's mansion, as the Great Thousand Alliance launched their joint offensive against the extraterritorial realm, the vast Great Thousand world seemed eerily empty. Even the once prosperous Boundless Fire domain had become eerily quiet, with no sound except for the silent prayers rising from everyone's hearts. In this realm, Yunqi and Yuan Yin had become the true core figures. All matters of alchemy, soul cultivation, and battle array mastery within the Boundless Fire domain emanated from these two women. Hiss! Inside the grand hall, Yunqi, who had been intently focused on her painting, suddenly trembled. A sharp pain surged within her chest, causing her to drop the embroidery pin, interrupting the image on the canvas. Yunqi, what's wrong? Yuan Yin, who had been concentrating on gathering array patterns, lifted her round face and asked with a puzzled expression. Yuan Yin didn't know exactly what had happened, but her intuition told her something was wrong with Yunqi ever since she arrived in the Boundless Fire domain from the Ghost Realm. She couldn't say exactly what, but she knew something was off. I don't know. It just felt like something stabbed at my heart viciously, like a needle piercing through. Yuan-Chi shook her head, but her complexion was pale, clearly shaken by some kind of fright. In an instant, deep within her soul, an ethereal figure seemed to become more tangible, as though it was about to emerge. By the way, Yuan-Chi, what are you painting? It looks like a little girl. Seeing Yuan-Chi in this state, Yuan Yin wisely shifted her gaze to the painting on the desk. On the canvas was the image of a little girl who seemed no older than 10. She had long, alluring legs, snow-white skin, and glossy black hair, with a petite and delicate figure, a natural beauty. Even though her face was incomplete, Yuan Yin could sense an ethereal aura emanating from her body. The aura was faint and mysterious, so profound that, after looking at it for a while, a strange feeling arose, almost as if the girl might step out of the painting at any moment. It's nothing. Focus on refining your array patterns. If things go south, we might need you, the battle array master, to protect us. Yuan-Chi's expression changed, and she gently reached out to stroke Yuan Yan's forehead. At the same time, she slightly closed the painting on the desk. With Yuan-Chi's current soul strength in the spirit-wandering realm, combined with ancient secret techniques, she could vaguely sense the mysterious power within her body. Spoiled by Yuan-Chi's gentle touch, Yuan Yin buried her forehead into Yuan-Chi's long legs, closing her eyes in enjoyment. Yuan-Chi had become like an elder sister to her, and their bond was beyond ordinary. Child, do you think gods truly exist in this world? Yuan-Chi's beautiful eyes were filled with endless emptiness. She looked up dazedly at the distant void, as if a lost puppet, speaking in a distant tone. I don't know, but Xiao Yan seems very close to reaching that realm. Yuan Yin shook her head vigorously. Those realms were too distant for them. What if an enemy appears who even Xiao Yan can't defeat? I don't know, but I will use all my strength to protect and safeguard the home and friends I cherish. These are the words Xiao Yan has always said. At this moment, Yuan Yin also keenly sensed that something was wrong with the other party. She immediately stood up, her big eyes filled with tears, staring at Yuan-Chi like a little girl who had done something wrong. Having come from the ghost realm to the boundless fire domain, part of the reason was to assist the domain, and part of it was to further her skills in the art of battle array masters. During this time, the bond between the two had already grown as close as siblings. It's nothing. It seems like the cycle of fate has begun, Yuan-Chi said mysteriously, then continued to focus on the woman in the painting. She seemed to intend to use her own method to give this great thousand world a glimmer of hope, regardless of her final outcome. Due to Xiao Yin inadvertently activating the 4 spirit pearls within his body, the power of the lotus leaf within the spirit palace surged, and the mysterious force within Yuan-Chi also responded, awakening at an extremely fast pace. However, Xiao Yin was in the protective domain created by the heavenly guardian, and with the mysterious figure lurking in the shadows, his attention was entirely on the 2 supreme beings in the black and white solar eclipse, leaving him unaware of the critical moment unfolding. At the Buddhist realm's main base, the battlefield for the Second Heavenly Earth War. The war was raging, smoke rising, and countless flashes of blood illuminated the skies. The entire battlefield was desolate and tragic. The 2 armies had fully engaged in a deadly struggle, and the air was thick with the stench of blood. Boom! The heavenly demon emperor faced the holy king, while the shadow of the dark descendant confronted Xiao Tianming. Just after their strikes collided, a massive pillar of energy shot out in all directions, shaking the very space around them, causing the sky and earth to lose their color. Buzz! After the collision, the heavenly demon emperor's body began to uncontrollably tremble, as if some terrible force was surging from within. Is that the Earth Spirit Pearl? One of the keys to Paradise Lost? Why is it emitting such a disturbance now? What's going on? On the blood coffin, the heavenly demon emperor's mind grew uneasy, and he stared seriously at the holy king. In this battle, the strength of the extraterritorial evil clan was no match for the Great Thousand Alliance, but with the countless blood coffins and the support of the evil Grand Array, they had managed to hold their ground. If something were to go wrong now, it would spell disaster. What's happening? Seeing the heavenly demon emperor suddenly frozen in place, Xiao Tianming and the others gathered around, watching in confusion. It seems there's some terrifying power gathering at an incredible speed. Kai Lin and Yun Yun, both alarmed, felt their hearts race and sink. The source of their unease seemed to be the flower god's seal and the power of the tin-colored heaven swallowing python within them. Gulp. Look! Before their words had finished, at the edge of the world, a brilliant, dazzling fiery cloud layer suddenly tore through the skies, followed by countless colorful lightning bolts crashing down from above. Within the fiery cloud layer, lightning swirled, like the wrath of the heavens, shaking all the beings in the Buddhist realm. Not far behind, a stunning black and white solar eclipse also moved slowly, following closely. When the Holy King and the Heavenly Demon Emperor saw the fiery cloud layer, all their semi-god power seemed to freeze in place. An involuntary sense of reverence crept into their hearts. This is Quasi-God level. After a long silence, a smile of indescribable joy spread across Xiao Tianming's face. Quasi-God level? Hearing Xiao Tianming's excited voice, the countless warriors of the blood-soaked Great Thousand Alliance stopped their attacks, looking with confusion toward the top of this dim world. The gloomy skies were already heavily tainted by the sinister power of countless blood coffins, and a terrifying evil array of unknown function loomed. But now, with the appearance of the fiery thundercloud in the heavens, the suffocating feeling brought on by the evil forces rapidly dissipated, replaced by an unprecedented burning heat. It seemed that everything the extraterritorial evil clan had done was insignificant in front of the ruler in the sky. Looking up, the distant heavens suddenly rumbled with deep thunder, and within the radiant lightning clouds, countless fiery bolts and thunder dragons coiled, each unleashing earth-shattering roars. Endless, terrifying, thunderous power continued to gather, as though resisting or testing something. That's Xiao Yan. Alliance leader Xiao? In an instant, as the lightning and thunder clouds roared, a slender black figure floated within the clouds, behind which countless warriors of the Great Thousand Alliance erupted in ecstatic roars. Xiao Yan. At that moment, the Heavenly Demon Emperor, the shadow of the Dark Descendant, and other semi-god experts slightly trembled, their dark eyes fixed on Xiao Yan in the thunderclouds. Xiao Yan, now, was undoubtedly far stronger than the previous version of himself. It seems he has failed. Soon after, the shadow of the Dark Descendant slowly raised a hand, stabilizing the countless evil beings hidden within the evil Grand Array. A determined, almost crazed look gradually appeared in their eyes. The Heavenly Guardian and FA had attempted to suppress Xiao Yan, but they had failed. Despite the dangerous scene unfolding before them, they didn't show any signs of panic. It seemed they already had a well-prepared strategy in place, though the cost would be immense. They wouldn't attempt it until the very last moment. The Quasi-God tribulation. We will use this Quasi-God tribulation to turn it into a force that will suppress and obliterate the extraterritorial evil clan. Xiao Yan's footsteps slowly moved through the thunder layer in the void, his deep gaze fixed on the boundless sky above. At that exact moment, all the power within him surged to its limit. The Quasi-God tribulation, such a divine force that transcended the balance of heaven and earth, was perilous. One wrong move, and even Xiao Yan might turn to dust beneath its overwhelming might. But due to the power of the heaven's sorrow, and the mysterious lotus leaf within his divine palace, Xiao Yan's flame mantra had reached the fifth realm, and his strength naturally broke through to the Quasi-God stage. He looked up, a faint smile lifting the corner of his lips, as his demonic and reincarnation powers completely retracted, replaced by dazzling, radiant sacred flames. Even now, Xiao Yan could feel an immense pressure from the Quasi-God tribulation, a pressure that felt almost like a divine or ghostly force. But as long as he could overcome the Quasi-God tribulation, the extraterritorial evil clan would pose no threat. It was simply a matter of time and strength. Even now, facing the Quasi-God tribulation, Xiao Yan could not remain calm. After all, this was the pinnacle of the world's forces, and the pressure and danger were self-evident. Heavenly divine power, truly mysterious and unfathomable, muttered the sacred king and Xiao Tianming as they gazed at the colorless, transparent, vast thunderclouds, their heads shaking slightly, but there was a hint of envy in their eyes. Humph, you think you can utterly crush my clan with this? Such a fool's dream. Upon hearing Xiao Yan's arrogant tone, the heavenly demon's sacred emperor suddenly let out a cold laugh. The blood coffin behind him began to move slowly, and the blood-red patterns on it bubbled up like living things, constantly peeling off and embedding themselves into his skin. In that instant, as the ancient evil patterns from the blood coffin burned into the heavenly demon's sacred emperor's skin, the evil power that had remained at the peak of the semi-god stage began to expand rapidly, with faint fluctuations of breaking through its limits. Those evil patterns on the blood coffin seemed to contain endless evil power. We can't let him absorb more, or the consequences will be unimaginable. At this moment, Kai Lin and Yun, who were both sharp-minded, felt a sudden surge of danger in their hearts. The powers of the tin-colored heaven, swallowing python, and the flower god seal within them instinctively reacted. We must buy this kid some time. All forces, listen up. Defend the void with your lives. Boom. Just as Xiao Tianming and the Sacred King, two of the strongest warriors, spoke, countless elite soldiers from the Great Thousand Alliance, filled with righteous anger, surged forward. Waves of divine power poured out, forming massive, imposing defensive shields in front of everyone, including Xiao Yan. The energy within these shields was radiant, seemingly capable of withstanding even the full force of a semi-god stage expert. Swish. Your opponent is me. At that moment, the shadow of the Dark Descendant emerged first from the evil Grand Array, revealing a pale and eerie face. His voice was chilling as he spoke. With the shadow's appearance, countless blood coffins within the evil Grand Array began to stir, moving one after another toward the heavenly demon's sacred emperor's body, gradually entering him. Waves of increasingly malevolent evil light surged from the depths of the evil Grand Array, faintly rivaling the pressure Xiao Yan was experiencing above in the sky. Your strength won't stop us. Facing the death-defying actions of the shadow of the Dark Descendant, the Sacred King smiled. Then let's see. Blood-red bubbles, the size of dragon eyes, appeared all over the shadow's body, making him seem even more terrifyingly evil. Sacred flame of the highest order, summon the 1,000 flames. Sacred flame dragon pillar. The Sacred King, fully aware of the severity of the situation, immediately unleashed a burst of dazzling silver-white sacred flame from his body. Under his precise control, the sacred flames formed into an ancient, sacred, fiery column of light. Facing the devastating attack from the Holy King, the shadow of the Dark Descendant showed no signs of retreating or dodging. Instead, its body began to violently expand, seemingly intending to withstand the attack head-on with pure physical strength. As the flame beam made contact with the shadow of the Dark Descendant's body, an eerie, boundless suction force erupted from its indestructible form, forcibly drawing the Holy King's attack into its body. How is this possible? Hiss. In that moment, witnessing such a bizarre scene, a heavy sense of unease surged in the hearts of countless experts from the Great Thousand Alliance. Even the Holy King, a powerhouse at the peak semi-god stage, launching an attack with the second-ranked Sacred Flame from the Sacred Flame ranking of the Great Thousand World, was rendered so ineffective?